God, it's bright out here. Good morning, everyone. Right. I've just whipped together a quick lunch. It is Friday. It is the 30th of August. And I just put together a quick bacon, mushroom and leek scrambled. And I thought I could see if I could do not just talking a mouthful. Try to show some manners. The first chance I have to talk about things in the while. I'd say this morning is a turning point in terms of my life. I've got cleavage right now. I'm pushing my boobs to go. So yesterday, I returned to the world of work officially, and it's a weird thing to go through stages of your life where everything with your headspace is just so much more together than it was the last time you started a new job. Because in the past 18 months, 2 years, I've had many jobs, and I've not been able to stay at them longer than a year. And these are just jobs where I wasn't in the right headspace. I wasn't behaving my best in terms of what I was doing in the outside world. It was affecting how I was feeling at work. I wouldn't say my style of lifestyle, my level of work went down, because in hospitality you always have to kind of be the best version of yourself in terms of the customer comes first, and you do whatever you can to make the service as best as you can. And I would say at certain points of the past 2 years, when I've been working in a bar, a restaurant, a cafe, I felt like I've still been able to do that. But I think one thing that let me down is a level of communication. I think trying to work in a team where I will always do everything I can to help everyone be together, but because I wasn't the level of management or a level of in the know, I assumed that nothing else mattered than that day but the service. And that's why I still kind of believe in a way. But I would say I've definitely had a reality check in the past. This year, definitely. And I don't think it's not that my methods don't work, because I know they do in certain examples or certain respects. But for me personally, it's just always been a case of, why is this not happening? Or I need to know all the answers. If I don't know the answers, I can't do my job. Yes, I can really, because when it comes to customers, I can do the job to best of my ability, because the customers in my book always come first. When it comes to running a pub or running a bar, managing a team, that's why I always had issues in terms of, this is not how I would do it. And that mentality is probably why I didn't stay at those jobs. Because in a weird, warped up mind, I've always had a very high superiority complex in terms of how I expect the standard of care, expect the standard of service. But I know not everyone has that ability, and I know not everyone has that understanding of how to apply themselves in an example where food is brought to your table, or done in a way where there is when you leave a comment on TripAdvisor, you leave a bad review. What do you remember the least amount of it? The service or the food? The food okay can be bad, but if you don't like the food, you send it back. You ask the person who's serving you. The person in the front of the house is a way of communicating to the kitchen, or to a management who can handle it probably better than they can. So that hierarchy, as a customer, I know how to go about doing it, because I'm also a server. But sometimes it's not as easy as that sounds, because if you have a day off and you come back and shit's hit the fan, you don't have to. It's not really it doesn't really concern you, personally, if you're not in the position of management, I say power. But unfortunately, when things like that happens, the team will tell you about it, and the level of bitchiness, the telling stories, the behind people's backs, that will follow you wherever you go. There's always someone that's going to have an issue with someone else. There's always going to be altercations, communication problems, attitudes. And I think also my attitude at certain points with certain members of staff can be quite off-putting. But there are a number of reasons behind that, in terms of me being too bossy, or I'm asking for something. But if I'm stressed or I'm running around and I've got 3-4 things running in my head, I say it the way that sounds a bit abrasive, a bit rude. Even with customers at times, I've had those incidences with communication. I don't have a poker face, much, because I very much wear my heart on my sleeve, or I wear very much portray the best version of myself, wherever I am. This is kind of something like I'm blowing my own trumpet, but I'm also saying I'm eating a bit of humble pie right now. I'm actually eating scrambled eggs, but it's different. Yesterday, my first shift at this new pub. One thing I noticed, even, I wouldn't say it was chaotic. There was a part of the shift when I was busy and I was by myself up in an area that I'm still not used to yet. But the one thing I noticed about myself, and as I was talking and as I was just, sometimes when you say something and you know it sounds right weird, you go it back in your head. I did that quite a lot, because I also realised how fast when I talk do I enunciate my words, do I put the dick in diction. And when I play it back in my head and I go, yeah, that sounded, just no one could understand what I was saying. But most of the time last night, I literally walked away from the bar. I was talking to the guy I worked with upstairs last night, and every time I kind of walked away and I was getting excited and doing my little fast talking thing, I realised I'm actually enunciating my words. And it's all down to breathing. Breathing, state of mind. I did some yoga, like this tiniest little 2-minute yoga workshop with my best friend, and it's so bizarre. All it takes is just it takes like a breathing in, hand positions, leg positions, and it's the same thing in yoga like it is in salsa. Attention, a communication issue. But if your hand goes up to lead the go, based on where you put your palm and how you put your thumb, if you're going to put the thumb up, the girl knows to turn that way. So you're already starting to rotate your hand. However, if you put your edge of your finger up, where the hand's in hold, and you keep it that way, you're then opening up a space for her to move that way. And also, if there's tension in the arm, you can lead her into a double spin. Men, when it comes to with women, in terms of salsa, or leading on followers, let's make it that more politically correct. When you lead, you have to be clear and concise about what you intend to do, or would like to do, because it's also a permission, it's two-way street. There is a lot that we can all learn from how communication works in terms of life. And I think it comes from the highest level of power, management, authority, to the most humblest of servants. Think about it in the fetish world, when you are a slave or a sub or a kink or even a pup. You need to know that if you're giving away out of control to someone who's going to take take the lead, then you want to make sure that you can trust them. And you want to make sure that they're going to give you clear signals whether to turn that way or that way. Didn't know how this video was going to go. And weirdly, when I start talking about things, I had to get shout out as well. When I start talking, I usually do end up finding a common way through to make a moral of the story. So no matter who you are, where you are in the world, what you're doing, what you're eating, what you do for work, I learned that something as simple as breathing helps me to enunciate my words and also helps me to communicate better to everyone in my life. From working in front of house, to my family, to a lover. Even when I'm wearing a pup hood, I can communicate. Sometimes Astro communicates better than I do. Because there are certain actions and there's sort of indications that he has, there's certain skills that he has in pup form that I don't have in Richard form. I can't always use him as a reason or as a way of living my life because he's not accepted in many areas of my life. But I know that skills that he taught me are skills that I use and translate to use in Richard form. Wow, this story is quite interesting. I'm having a lot of realizations today, and I hope you guys will get a lot from this as well yourself. There's a lot about communication, a lot about trying to be clear. And if you're arguing about something, talking about something, discussing something, you want some opinions, you want some advice, always be clear. Ask me for help. Right, that's enough talking about me. I'm going to finish my dinner, my lunch, my brunch, my eggs, because they're over easy. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.